Greetings and thank you for joining us here with Gardening at Daddy Pete's today. I'm Melvin York and
I am Jay York. Thank you for listening to us today, everybody. Real quick before we dive into our topic for this week's podcast, just wanted to remind you wherever you are listening today, check us out at our website, www.daddypetes.com. That is with an S. And you can check out our link to Podbean. That'll give you a link to all of our platforms, all of our videos. If you want to look along with us on YouTube, we actually do have a video podcast. The same podcast, same audio will be on YouTube. Check us out on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, things of that nature. So, Dad, what do you think we want to get into today?
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to take, maybe it's called a multi-topic here. But again, you know that if you've known me very long or you've listened to me over the years, I'm a big fan of extension. I'm going to show you some of the reasons why before we get done today. We picked up an article from the Virginia Cooperative Extension. Let me get my tongue working today so I can speak. But anyway, this article is a reason that we garden. There's a lot of benefits to gardening, and this article that we're going to go over today was written by Dr. Nicole Morris, and she's a DNP PM HNP-BC. It's her credentials, and we are actually using it off of their page of the Virginia Cooperative Extension this morning. And we do know some of the benefits of gardening are so that you can have fresh, safe, and safe, I use that word very, very, very loudly, safe vegetables to feed your family with, herbs, berries, fruit trees, some of the things that you can plant on today. But another topic that we have here, and she's come up with this, and I thought was very, very good. And I'm going to get into some of the other things that your cooperative extension offers you. And these are all free, and some of the things that I'm sure you don't think about, you know. So today's topic is going to be gardening for mental health and the evidence-based benefits for well-being. Now, I found that very interesting that someone's actually did a study on how much, not only does it nourish our bodies with a healthy raised bed or your row garden, even if you're doing pot gardening, it doesn't make a difference. It's providing you with fresh, nutritious vegetables, herbs, spices, fruit, that's good for your body in that way, but also gardening can also be good for your mental health. And I know in this day and time, a lot of people do have problems, dealing with anxiety. Some people have problem with depression, and that's not uncommon in our society today because of the world we live in.
Yeah, and the reason why we're kind of addressing this is because of the rampant, I guess, environment, for the lack of better words, of what we're living in today. You get sucked into doom scrolling on social media, and social media, what was meant to be for good, can sometimes be meant for evil, and that's just, it's just like anything else in the world. It's a tool that's meant for good, can be meant for evil, so we're kind of just looking at the ways that we can combat that, and gardening is one of the ways that we can combat that. And we want to put a disclaimer out that neither Melvin or I are health professionals. We're not licensed medical providers. So if this is something that you're struggling with, we want to make sure that you're consulting with your physicians, your doctors. But again, this is just something, even in my own perspective here, my own studies and stuff, something that I've found, past years, getting sucked into the realm of competition on social media, climbing the corporate ladder, taking a step back from that and getting back into the garden. I've watched some of these tips and tricks that we're going to talk about kind of flourish in my own life, and we're excited to share them today.
Well, we're living in a world now where When I went to school, it was everybody kind of tagged everything. And this was years back, too. You got to keep in mind, this was in the late 60s, early 70s when I was going to school, and really took knowledge to this that, they were a 40-hour work week. And they said, now, by the time you get on up 20 more years later, that's only going to be a 30-hour work week, and it's going to be a 25-hour work week, and it's going to do this. But that's not the case. And we're dealing now with more family issues. You're dealing with work issues. Sometimes you're dealing with health issues, extended family issues, your surroundings. And this is some of the things that causes stress and anxiety. And, there's medications for it here, there's medications there. But what we're offering you today is to go along with that is a beneficial tool that may help you relieve some of your stress, and that's gardening. Gardening has been found and has been proven to do that, even just as little as 30 minutes a day. Even in exercise, if you do a raised bed garden, or even if you're doing pots, 30 minutes a day makes a big difference. But if you're doing row gardening, raised beds, you have different raised beds where you're planting and weeding, pruning and all. That's also a good exercise that you can get in, and not more than you're exercising your body. You're moving your muscles, you're doing that, but you're also helping your psyche too, and you're relieving stress. That's the good thing. It's a place to go where, you can enjoy, you can relax, you can calm down. You're outside, you're getting that vitamin D from the sun that you need for your body. And again, one thing that does make a difference too, you are seeing an accomplishment that you're doing when you do grow your vegetables, your herbs, your fruits, or whatever.
Yeah, and then you're going to be outside in your fresh air, getting and kind of involved with nature. I mean, I think that's a really underrated aspect in itself, just being outside, like you said, getting in the sunlight. There's been studies with multiple universities that proves that exposure to sunlight does lower your blood pressure, especially work pressures, anger, anxiety, like you said, that's all known to raise your blood pressure. So getting outside, getting in sunlight, that offsets a lot of that. And another overlooked point that this article makes too is it sharpens your senses. Looking at the colors of your leaves and your blooms, the smells of these blooms and flowers, the smells of like rosemary, sage, or something in an herb garden, and getting your hands actually on something, putting your fingers down in the soil, feeling that, man, that's sharpening your senses and, keeps you fresh, keeps you one with nature, man. I mean, that's a really underrated aspect, I think.
Let me read just a little bit out of what that Nicole had wrote here, which I thought was awful good. She said, why gardening helps us feel better. It says, life is busy. Our brains are constantly juggling work, family, schedules, and gardening gives us a break from all of that. And let's stop and think about it. That's probably true. Research. Now, keep in mind, research shows that gardening can lower stress levels. It can also improve your mood and help focus and attention, just like Jay was saying. One reason is that it's being around plants helps lower cortisol, the hormone that your body releases when you're stressed, and helps to lower that. Even short periods of gardening, about 10 to 30 minutes, have been linked to feeling calmer and more released. Now, she goes on to say that another big benefit is mood support. Studies looking at thousands of people have found that gardening is linked to fewer symptoms of anxiety and depression. People often report feeling more positive, more grounded, and more satisfied with the life that they regularly spend time caring for plants. And gardening is also great for your attention and focus. Again, that's a point that Jay brought up. Being in nature gives you your brain a chance to rest instead of focusing yourself to concentrate. Gardening uses what researchers call is gentle attention, watching leaves move, noticing new growth, feeling soil in your hands. This helps mental fatigue kind of just melt away. So these are some good points on that. Now, again, we want to stress that, if you have maybe a severe anxiety or severe depression or whatever, by all means, make sure that you see a physician and follow exactly what they tell you to do in your medications. Because in this day and time, it seems like everybody has at least some anxiety or some depression at some time. The thing is, we're not offering you a cure here. We're offering you a added tool here to help you with your walk in these conditions. If you kind of know. Now, this was brought off the extension page.
Yep.
Which, if you know me, I'm always a big fan of extension. And this is not anything, but I compiled a list of just a few things that I wanted to read to you today. This was from NC State Extension of some of the things they provide. Okay. Jay, you want to start that out maybe?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there's kind of two sides to the coin of what the extension offers here. And this is pretty universal for most states. We're just, like we said, focusing on the North Carolina State Extension because that is where we live and where we work. But you've got your agribusiness side of it, kind of helping support commercial agricultural producers, your farmers, your animal producers. And then you've also got your homeowner side of things, helping the home gardener, the home chicken producer, things of that nature, just for a couple examples. But then something that we've mentioned, if we haven't mentioned it every podcast, we've probably done it every other one, and that's soil testing, helping you get your soil right. Again, that's a homeowner side and an agribusiness side. They offer it in both ways. You're looking into your natural resource conservation, helping you with water conservation, like during this past drought that we had in North Carolina in the summer. Going into health and nutrition and family. You're looking at your food safety, where your food comes from, asking those questions, seeing, what these producers are doing, kind of getting a little clarity on that. Your disease reductions, man. I mean, these guys, they're really touching on a little bit of everything.
Yeah, and let me just throw this in here as we go along too, since you hit on those. Now, the North Carolina extension, when you collect, gather, call for, go by and see them. The information they've done has been tried and true. It's been tested, and they're testing, and all of their studies are coming from our land grant universities here in North Carolina, which is NC State and NC A&T State. So these is something that somebody's not just said, okay, this is a good idea or this may work. Everything that they put down is a tried and true method that has been done over study and research over several, if not many years. And Jay was talking about some of the aspects, and I just want to hit on a couple more too. That's like health and nutrition. He said they give you an idea on the local food safety and preservation and meal planning. Now, we're talking about preservation. Most of these extension offices do hold and teach you about canning or freezing some of the crops that you've grown in your garden. They also talk to you about meal planning for your diet and all. So that's something that a lot of people say, wow, I didn't know that. Yes, you can go ahead and sit down and say maybe you're doing, you have a problem with diabetes, let's just say. They can go in and give you and help you plan out a meal. And it doesn't cost you anything. Some of the different things they offer in home horticulture, Jay mentioned that, but it's not only just gardening, it's lawn care, maintenance, volunteer work,
landscaping, all kinds of stuff.
Natural resource conservation is your water quality protection, stormwater management. If you own any type of land, or maybe you've bought a parcel, maybe it's just a half acre, maybe it's 3/4, but maybe the water's running into the house or whatever. You could call them. They could give you some ideas on how it needs to be graded and all. And one other that I really think is, in this day and time is good for the younger families, is their consumer services. They cover household management, financial literacy, and budgeting. Now, you can actually go in there and say, okay, here's what we're doing. Here's the money that we bring home. Here's our bills. Could you help me make a budget? Their answer will be most certainly. And they can do that. And that, to me, is a big thing. Now, one other thing is they do offer a program for youth called the 4-H program, which is good, and you can sign your child up to that. And then you can even go a step further, and they do the STEM program, which is helping young people get their skills ready, life building skills for a job that's going to, when they get ready to go out into the job market, they can do that. And that's just some of the few things among many that you can find in your local extension office. And as Jay said, that's not just in North Carolina, but that's basically what you're going to find in any of the extension services. And as far as I know, we do have extension offices in all 50 states.
Yeah, what I like about these extension agents, especially here locally, and I'm sure this is the case across the state and across other states as well, and you were mentioning the 4-H and the STEM programs, what we're doing with our youth. A lot of them are good to kind of interact, get these kids in these FFA programs with the local high schools, local middle schools involved too. I was in FFA growing up, and that was something that I've kind of looked back, and I went and done all these ag camps and FFA offices and things, and I've looked back, and a lot of these people that I've done these with, they're actually extension agents themselves now, which is kind of cool. But these extension agents are a real Swiss Army knife. They've got they've got their specialized areas, but they know so much more. They have this access to, like Dad was saying, these land grant universities. You've got all these professors, these clubs and groups, all this knowledge, and that brings me to a point of community. That's another thing that a garden can help you get if you're kind of feeling that feeling of isolation. Get out, find a community garden. You get in touch with your extension. A lot of them, they will do gardening classes with the master gardeners. There's a lot of ways, a lot of opportunities for friendship and community there.
Yeah, and just to say a word for that too, the FFA, a lot of schools do have that, and a lot are coming back to that during the FFA. But again, that's things that you'll find that comes through your agricultural colleges like NC State or here in North Carolina, or NCA&T State here in North Carolina, and they do support that activity all. Again, the FFA program is not just about farming. FFA, I know my son's an ag teacher at one of the local high schools here in our county, and not only do they do that, but they teach you small engines, they teach you welding, they teach you all about farming practice, they teach you farm safety, and farm safety can be used in any part of your life. So these are some of the things, but our main goal today was to get you out of the house, get you into the gardening, and there's more than just one benefit. It's good for your health. It's good for your health in more ways, and to your body-wise, keeping it going, keeping it strong, but also by growing and eating healthy, fresh food. Another thing is it's good for the mental health. It gives you in your mind, it gives you a place to go rest. It gives you a sense of accomplishments. So these are the things we wanted to bring up today and share just a little bit with you. Now, if you'd like to see that article, you can go on the Virginia extension page. You can get it and click on that on their mental health article and read it for yourself. If you would like to find out more on what your extension, doesn't make any difference if you're in South Carolina, where Clemson would be yours. Virginia Tech would be in Virginia. Got University of Tennessee, North Carolina, University of Florida. All of these, depending on where you live, it doesn't make any difference. Go to your state extension page and see what your county offices offer you, which is going to be about everything you get on the state page. And if not, look on your state. Now, again, it's getting fall. Let me throw this in. So we mentioned it. a while ago that we, it's about time to start taking soil samples for next year, whatever you're planting in your garden. And we're going to do a thing on that here in another week or two about go ahead and getting that spring garden planted. And everybody says, well, we hadn't got done with summer real good yet. No, but if you don't know what you're going to do next year, you're not going to get anything done. So you want to go ahead and plan for it. And things like this ahead of time, this coming into the fall, is when you need to start taking your soil samples, see if you need them in, see what you need to do to have those ready for next year. Well, Jay, I think we've about run our time out here. What do you think?
Yeah, we're going to go shoot some more content for social media. And speaking of that, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you prefer. Follow all of them if you like. We do have a monthly newsletter on our website. It's www.daddypetes.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page there, and you can sign up for our monthly email newsletter. And we kind of do a podcast episode around the first of the month that coincides with that too. With all that being said, Dad and I both have our own individual Instagram accounts related to Daddy Pete's where we post the customers that we're visiting, some product demos, all kinds of fun stuff. Dad's is at Melvin Daddy Pete's. Mine is Jay Daddy Pete's. And then, of course, we have our official Daddy Pete's Instagram as well. So follow all those accounts and you'll get a good little dose of color and a little bit of excitement in your feed there.
And yeah, let me mention one other thing too. If you look for our Daddy Pete products, you're going to notice they always have the Holstein spot on our bags. That's been our signature trademark for almost 40 years. And looking around at some of the stores, we see some imposters coming up. So if it doesn't say Daddy Pete on the bag, if you don't see the little Daddy Pete's Plant Pleaser, what will be on the bag, and if you doesn't see the little farmer guy on there, you'll know that it's not us. So make sure that when you're purchasing your product and you're buying real dairy cow manure, you'll find that under the Daddy Pete label. Also, look for our black spots on the bag. Our writing may be in different colors for the product that it is, but our bag's always going to have the black Holstein spots because of the dairy and the cow manure that we use to process all of our compost. So make sure if it's not Daddy Pete's on the bag, you're not getting Daddy Pete's. So with that note, I'm going to leave you today, Jay and myself, and we thank you for tuning in.